What is up, everyone? It's your girl JJBEATS, and today I'm alongside with.
I am Mr. Kumar, and you could call me Siberian Kumar or Kumar's Gaming. I have both gaming channel and software development channels, and also I'm a software developer for last 10 years. I've been basically contributing to open source software development such as Linux, but now these days I've been into game development.
And we're here to
So
discuss Aria's choice.
Intimacy, passion, and commitment.
yeah, we are here to discuss Aria's choice. So basically, I urged JJ to make a post-mortem video of our game Aria's Choice because it is to near completion, right? So yeah. So why did you decided to team up with me to make the game?
Well, you reached out to me one day, and I saw you were a viewer of mine, and I do recall us. I one day was like, I want to make a video game, and you reached out to me about it. And at first I was like, this is sus, because I hadn't know people would actually just do making video games for free and whatnot. And then you discussed all the dynamics around it, that there's servers and like a place to put it in for free. So I was just like, as long as I don't gotta pay for it, I'm good with it. And then thus we started playing the concept around Aria's choice.
Yeah. So actually, I reached out to you because I had an idea of the game of I wanted to make the game, right? So like I actually worked on a previous game called Belonging, which is also a visual novel, and I wanted to try something which I could team up with a person or a small team which I could work and make a game about. So basically, Belonging was just a test run, just a demo type of thing, and I wanted to make something big. Not like a AAA kind of thing, but decently complete game. So basically, I actually discovered the server which I recommended to you. The DevTalk server basically is from another server I knew about it, which is from doll making software, which is a doll making character software, which you could like use it to dress up anime characters and set up your eyes, faces, and everything to make characters for your visual novel or even your VTube, VTube setup, VTube model. So in that, the owner of that software told me that if you're participating in visual novel jams, then DevTalk is one of the best servers to go. I went in there and I saw that like the server is good, but I need somebody outside of the server to like be a part of my team, because technically getting people directly from here would be too much of a difficult thing for me, because I'm a new person there and I have absolutely nobody knows me there, and I just cannot be there to be like, okay, yes, I'm the director and I want to recruit somebody. So I needed some help with the art basically, and other things I could basically take out from the DevTalk server. So when you were talking about, when I was looking at your stream, and because I was a VTuber as well when I was watching your stream, so I thought that yeah, she is a good person and she is talking about making games, and I'm making games. So let's reach out to her. Let's see what she talks about and what she says about. So yeah, that's how I found you basically.
Imagine I was just like, nah, I'm a villain, so I don't want to partake in anything. Like, only if it's for the money. Because that's what villainists do. Anywho, I don't know. I was just like, you know what? Part of like growing and stuff is taking risks. So I was just like, let's go take this risk. And so then we started forming the concept of artist choice, and we had some drafts set up, and we're like, okay, the art, and I was gonna do the art, but then people could complain about my art. So I was like, you know what, let's find a different artist, because maybe people would be more interested in that. So
Personally, I didn't find any problem with your artwork. I was actually very much okay with whatever art style you do, because you had this funky type of art style. I was thinking of making a game which had the story which matches with your art style. But honestly, like, the only problem which I got was the inconsistencies with the art style. Like, you make one character with one art style and another character with another art style, so that was actually problematic in a way. So I thought that if that could be sorted out, that would have been better. So yeah, I think I don't remember, like, how did we switched up
ya está haciendo
from
algo.
you being my artist to you being my director? How did that happen?
Well, you're like, do you want to be director? And I was like, no. You're like, but I need someone who's confident enough to do the stuff, because we were doing the meet and greet and your stuff kept failing, so then I had to just talk. Even though they didn't really want me to, because there's a queue, and I was just like, wait, I'm part of his team. So I was just like, I guess you just saw that I was very easy to talk to, or just know how to talk to people. So you're like, how about you be director? And I was just like, well, the art isn't really gonna win first place, if anything, even though this wasn't ranked. So I was just like, maybe. And you're like, I think you can do director. I was just like, I could try. I don't know anything about being director, but I could try.
Yes, I remember now. So what happened was, like, my Discord failed for some reason, and I wasn't able to talk in meet and greet to introduce myself and basically get contributors for our project in meet and greet of Dev Talk. So you talked, and then I noticed, yes, that you are a good communicator, unlike me, which is kind of strange because I'm also a VTuber, but I'm not good at communicating. So I thought, yeah, like, she could be the director. Plus, it was not at that moment that I decided. It was more of the fact that when I was recruiting people in DevTalk server by posting the advertisement in the DevTalk recruiting forum, the musicians which came, they were having a little bit of creative differences, you could say, a bit of, and they didn't had a proper vision of how the project was going, and I wasn't able to properly communicate with them, as in, yes, this is how much this is the plan of the game, and this is how we will do things. So basically, the thing happened is that the particular musician thought that I'm recruiting more than what is required, but uh, by and large, like, I was actually recruiting less at that time, because later on we knew that the amount of people we recruited was less compared to how much work we had to do for this game. So yeah, due to those that music artist also said that, yeah, we did have some misunderstanding, but I'm not going to come back. Even I apologized to him that if there was some discrepancies regarding what was being communicated to and what roles you had to do. So, but he said that no, we had a bit of misunderstanding, so we will put that in our bag and we'll move ahead with other projects. So yeah, that's when I decided that, yeah, being a good communicator is really useful. So I thought that you are very good at communicating. Maybe your art is a bit rusty, but your communication is good with all that, managing the VTubing channel and everything. So I decided to give you the director's role.
That's what every artist wants to hear. Art is rusty. 10 out of 10. But I don't know. I think with my communication, I was just very straightforward in what I wanted, and then I also made it known that, like, as long as you think you can handle it, that's what I want you to do. Don't be like, I can overhandle it, and then you can't do it in the end. But with that being said, stuff still happens. So, we just kept proceeding. And the thing is, I kept treating this like this was like the only game I was gonna make, so I was like gonna go all out and treat it like a AAA title. Probably not a good idea in hindsight, but I was like, go big or go home, and we definitely went big. So
I was envisioning something else. Like, I was thinking, like, this will be a very small game. We will have a very small team. We'll make a small game. We'll have a success, or we will have a failure, a little bit of failure, but we will complete the game and we'll finish it. There was some point that even I understood, like, there may be a time like we weren't able to finish the game, but I actually did research on the DevTalk community and other jams which people used to do. And I understood that there are times when people even participate in the jam and they just make an unfinished project. So I was ready to face that setback, basically.
I'm not that type of person though. I like finishing my stuff. So I was like, nah, we gotta do it to the max. Also, I didn't expect for because we had 5 character love interest in mind, right? I didn't expect for what would happen for Ethan's route and for Damien's route. So that's why it was just like, I wasn't expecting it to be super big, but I didn't expect it to be as big as it came out either. So 100 plus pages for Ethan. 70 plus pages for Damien.
Yes. 100 pages for Ethan. Like, this game is really big compared to the team size and the amount of work we had to do for this game is comparatively a lot. Basically, it is a lot of work to make this game, although it was not very polished. I have to be honest about it. It is not that very polished, but it is. I think it's a decent game, nevertheless. Yeah. So let's discuss like what issues we faced during the recruiting process. So the recruiting process, we had I had the problems like recruiting people. Like, I wasn't able to get artists, and I wasn't able to get background artists. Background artists were very difficult. Like, we tried to use these photo sketcher and other type of softwares to mitigate this, but I think you stepped in at that time, being the director, that you posted the advertisement in the you edited the existing advertisement in the DevTalk server, and that I think got more people in our server, basically. I think
could have. I think I was just more I was just like, oh, okay, let's see what you got, and people were like, okay, I'll bring it forward, and so we managed to get some traction. There's also like the meet and greet where we did the one time, and I was just like, you know what, I feel like you would be interested, and so I was reaching out via the meet and greet way, like the rules for the meet and greet, and so we were able to get more people that way. And then I kept posting recruitment after the allotted time was over. So well, not a lot of time, but like every week or something, I was just like, who still wants to help out on this project, because I just didn't want to give up on it. And I wasn't thinking that like the demo was it. I was thinking like, no, when we finish the game is when we finish the game, not just no demo. I was just like, why would I just make a demo and then have to redo it again? So I was very passionate.
Yeah, I wasn't also like I was prepared for an unfinished game, and then there was a certain point of the development process that I thought that I was okay with demo as well. But to be honest, like at the first, I decided that I will make a very small game, but it will be a complete game. That is what I decided to be. So yeah, but we broke it down to demo because the jam time was very less. The first jam time was very less, and Aria has participated in many jams actually.
Oh my goodness, so many. Because I just felt like that's what kept some people motivated aside from us. Also, it also gave us like we need to get this much amount done by the time we by this jam. So like it always kept us accountable, gave us accountability to keep working on the project.
Yeah, like it actually fit perfectly well. Like you were very good at finding other jams which will fit our needs once the first jam of Otomi Jam was complete. And Otomi Jam only had we actually decided that first, I think Otomi Jam was of 2 months, and the first 15 days or so we decided that we will make the jam to test whether the team which we have recruited could actually do the work which we thought it will be able to do. So the team actually did made the things which we needed to do, but what happened afterwards was that the team has burnt out themselves and they didn't want to work further. That moment came in the jam completing in the jam, basically OTM jam. So that thing really our test whether the team could perform or not actually burned them out. So sometimes I think that we shouldn't do that, and this demo route is actually we shouldn't aim for demo to begin with.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think we should aim for demo. Like, okay, so demo is something as a byproduct of a long development process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So aiming for demo for the sake of demo, which we did in Aria's choice, we shouldn't do that. Demo should be a byproduct of something which we are already doing on a long-term thing. So that should be a demo. So we made a mistake in that. We made the demo. We made the demo for the sake of the demo.
So if we were making a byproduct or something like that, you would want a more polished up demo into what it would lead into?
Yeah, so basically the demo should be something of an incomplete game, which we are in the process of making it a complete game. So demo would not be polished, obviously. Demo will not be polished. Demo will be an incomplete game, but it will be a game which is like, in case of visual novels, it will be something like to be continued or something like that. But it will not hinder the development process. So what I understand is like the method we followed is that we actually did everything in a agile development method of software development. So what we did was basically we look at the demands of our team and the demands of our users, mostly our team, because at first our team knew what we were doing and we adapted to it. But visual novel is not suited for agile methodology of development of softwares. It is better suited for waterfall model. So what should we have done? That we should have concentrated on the writing part, which is the first part, then the editing part, and then the artwork comes, and then the music comes, and lastly the voice acting comes. We should have followed that. So when we talk about demo, right? So demo should happen at the time when we have done the artwork, certain artworks such as certain characters we have done, such as some some main some of the main characters are done with the expressions, and some of the backgrounds are done based on the story. And then we will have released the demo. So the demo should have been released like maybe suppose after 1 month of the Automi Jam rather than after 15 days or so. So we should have taken time to release the demo, because demo would be the byproduct of what we are actually aiming for. So that is what I understand from here.
Do you think there's more passion when people were doing the demo or when we were doing the full game?
I think there was more passion in doing the demo.
Yeah, because I can notice that there's quite a difference from when we first started to when we were ending. It kind of felt like we were just kind of trucking along at that point, or like we just wanted to have a complete game. Also with everything going on, it was like, oh, you know, we'll just have to wrap it up here or something like that, which it was just like, with my mindset, I was just like, I want to have a good game and a complete game. But I would like, when you think about it, maybe if we had like the longer demo, like where it was thought as like it could be interpreted as the final product, or as something to get us started, something to like leave a good impression or hook.
So hook for, you're saying that we should make the demo which has some kind of a hook?
Like let's say we got burnt out after making the demo, right? Like the demo should at one point either leave the audience wanting more, or like we feel satisfied enough that like if we couldn't finish the product, it has enough but people still want more.
No, that is one of the thing here. We have to understand this. Like, regarding managing people, we have to understand one more thing. Like, we have learned a lot of things, I think. So the first thing which we have learned is that people do demand a lot of things, and people want a lot of things, but we have to choose out of those that what we have to follow. So like, if you look at our team right now, like when we were trying to organize our game development team, like you suggested that we should use Trello or Notion, or similar kind of software, right? To organize our game development process. But we found that our contributors weren't they didn't wanted to use that software, either Notion or Trello, proactively. So that was basically left useless. Nobody bothered to look at it. So yeah, inclusion of people adopting to the development process is also kind of a difficult thing to do, especially when we are doing some we are doing game development which is totally online and not offline, or in real life. So yeah, like we did had that. I don't know like whether we should still continue with using Notion or Trello for game development. Will it help us?
I don't think it will, honestly, because I think we put more time into making it rather than just to work on what we need to work on. So that's why I don't think that's a good idea to just use it. But that could be me personally, or I really just don't think it's a good idea, to be honest. I think it's just probably better to work on however basis, because I feel like no one sticks with the schedule. Even with us, we weren't able to stick with the schedule, because oh my goodness, remember we kept saying it's like, how many days is it gonna take? And you would be like 10 days, and then be like, actually it's gonna be 30 days. I'm like, bro, what? It was more than twice the amount, so like I just don't feel like schedules really work unless you have like a dedicated schedule or like can make it. But I think that like comes when there's like revenue to be had or could be had or is had.
Yeah, I understand that you had some, how can I say this? My estimation of time was a little bit off. My personal estimation as well as my team estimations, like what estimation I did for the team. I understand what my personal setbacks were because when I said that it will take me a few days, I actually got busy with responsibilities of my real life. And I think the same thing happened with other contributors as well, that they were busy with real life responsibilities, so they weren't contributing it enough. Plus also the fact that since it is a free game and nobody is getting any money out of it, so there is no motivation to like sacrifice something for working in here. Rather, they just get the fame or the recognition that they have worked on it, or the experience that they have worked on.
Yeah, like
So I think that's one of the issues we face. That's why setting up a stricter deadline would be not in a way not beneficial for us, but also it is the fact that whatever deadline you set, right? Suppose if you set a deadline of 3 days, normally in software what happens, you have to consider that it will be done 3 times of that amount. So if you're taking 3 days, it will be completed in 9 days or so and so. So unless you brought in more people to complete it faster, it will take 3 times more. Usually it happens like it's a rule of thumb that happens during the game development or any software development. So I think having deadlines is also good. It actually motivates people to like work in the pressure, because I know during the jam time I was motivated to complete it during the jam time, because the jam day actually motivated me to complete a lot of things and take a lot of responsibilities, a lot of work to be completed in time during the jam. So I think jam also kind of makes that kind of a motivation factor that yes, we have to push it before that external factor, that we have to push it and complete it before that jam time.
I would say it depends on the person. If let's say our group was all filled with people who like time crunches, then you can make a schedule built around time crunches. But there's some people who prefer to work at a slow pace, and you have to take that accounted for. But it's really hard to keep both customized, because someone's gonna feel like it's lacking unless you really customize each thing for each person, which is gonna be tough to do. I think jams are good for temporary, but not good for long term. Like it feels like you had like, because Aria's choice was supposed to be like 3 months, right? And it ended up being like 9 months in development. So that's 3 times the amount.
like I said, if you're talking about 3 months, it will take 3 times that amount. So it took 9 months. So that's how usually game development, software development goes. It takes 3 times the amount, the actual amount.
Well, the thing is, it was more so that like the jam itself said to have everything done, or even just a demo done in 3 months. Now, if we were supposed to get everything done, which we technically did get like the story done in 3 months, it was getting all the assets afterwards that took forever. But if you're supposed to get done in 3 months, a really good story, a very coherent story, and a really like just great story, then I think it fails, because that's not what you're going for. You're going to go for just rushing the product. Like for example, if you have only 1 month to work on a project, it's not going to be as like long or as possibly entertaining as one that you could take a year on. But it's also like when we first started, you mentioned that expect to take double the amount, And if we were to expect it to take 3 months, then we should have expected 6 months. But there's nowhere where we would have expected 9 months because it's only supposed to be double the amount time.
Yeah, double is usually the normal route. If it is a paid project, that is. If it is a paid project, like if everyone is getting paid, we take double the time. But yeah, since it was a free contribution, I think people took more time than required. But it also it is also the reason like the delays happened partly due to the fact that people were not actually responding to the Discord things which we were making for assignment of their tasks. That was happening, and that actually delayed a lot of time for us regarding the contribution of the game. So it has happened like we made some announcement and people were telling that you are making so many pings to us. But if we don't make the announcement, how will you know that how much that the game has developed? Or are you not part of the game development team that you don't want to listen to the announcements? Then the thing comes as someone got we didn't actually did that much of pings to begin with. We actually did 5 to 6 pings, I think, in total, right? In announcements.
It wasn't even that many pings. It was just more so that some people don't like the idea of being pinged, but it's like the only reason we did it is because we couldn't get an answer. And we didn't really want to DM people either, but like that's something we had
Yeah,
to
but
do.
we had to DM people because they muted their servers. They muted our servers even though they were contributing in our servers and being a part of our team. So yeah, we had to DM them as well to get a response. And certain roles such as voice acting, like if you don't respond, like that really stifles us, and that all really blocks us. Like we cannot substitute you with another voice actor because you are basically the personality of the character, and if you leave we cannot continue making that voice acting task ahead to put it into the game. So yeah, like some of the artworks can be replaced, but yeah, even the artworks, the art style changes, so that also like gives a little bit of uh, unpolished style of game, that every artwork is different. So yeah, people not responding, and people not replying, or people not sometimes people, I think it has happened like some of the contributors didn't even respond to the DMs we have sent, right?
Nope. Ghost mode. They went completely ghost. Or maybe they would respond like a whole month later. It was just like, well, we kind of need the response right away.
Yeah, 24 hours or at least 2 days is enough for like responding to any person. I think we actually gave 1 week for people to respond, and
I think we gave
even
2
then
weeks,
we kept it. Oh, okay. We gave 2 weeks.
We were given a lot of time.
So yeah, that also like slowed down the whole development process. So this is one of the issues, like people not responding to your messages or my messages or our pings when they're a part of the team. That really doesn't work. That is really uncooperative to a certain extent. Like if you're collaborating, you should collaborate. And then another thing came is that some people came, they didn't know what to do, and they didn't ask what they had to do. And with all the things we were managing things, that we didn't notice that this person has contributed, and they didn't even ask like what they have to do, and they just stayed there in the team, just as not doing anything, like just being there or just being dormant in that team, and not even like contributing or doing anything. So we had those kind of people as well in our team. I don't know what to think about that.
It really depends on the expectations we're going for, because I think we're going for the expectations of everyone's a novice, and so we're gonna try to enhance everyone's abilities, but then there's other people who are like, oh, this is supposed to be professional, you gotta treat professionally, even though like not everyone had like professional background or whatnot. So it really makes it hard because, you know, teamwork is all about cooperation, but not everyone wants to cooperate the same.
Yeah, so I found that during recruitment process of our games, during our game jam of Aria's choice, there were two kind of contributors that were coming in. One that want to show their skills and they were professional, and they wanted to show their skills, and they were, I think, in a way, like if I put it bluntly, I don't want to you know be rude or something, but if I put it bluntly, I think they were a little bit of like, with their professionalism, they were a bit pompous in their approach in a way, because you know that a jam is actually, you get two kinds of people in jams, right? You get novices who want to gain experiences, so they have that experience in their resume to get work afterwards. And then you have the people who want to show out their skills, who are too much experience and they just want to, show out their skills, or just build up their already experienced resume which they have. So I think collaboration actually works in a way, as in that you have to have room for newcomers. You have to have room for novices. In programming, I had novices, but if they were open to like learning from me, and whatever I teach to them, they were open to learning from me and understanding me, I didn't have problems in working with them, even though if they didn't knew. But I also had some programmers who didn't know how to use GitHub, the collaborative tool for software development. But they didn't, when I just notified them that they did this wrong in the GitHub or something, they just decided that no, this team is not for me. I want to work on some another team, and they made an excuse and they just um, bailed out, basically, if I put it bluntly. So like, there were some people who were willing to learn, and there were some people who were experienced in, particularly in Ren'Py development, but those experienced people didn't have the time because they were working as in like, they were busy working, and in real life their work was too much, so they didn't contribute much in the end. And some people who contributed, some people were, as in, they contributed a bit of their time, like a substantial portion of their time they contributed it in programming, but then they, after that, some left the server and some just became dormant in it and they didn't contribute at all. So they were with us for us like 30% of the time, the experienced programmers, and then they weren't with us. And these newcomers, they were with us from the starting to the end till we wanted, and they stayed with us. But in the end, like, as in, when the game was already normally totally finished, programming was mostly finished, I think all the programmers left and neither of them responded back, basically, unless I pinged them or DM'd them.
If we were lucky enough to get a response, that is. Also, there's also the fact that I think the main problem with this is that it takes patience and collaboration when working with people who may not have experience, because you have a teacher's background, so I guess you need to have more patience than someone who isn't a teacher per se. And when it came to this, some people were not patient enough because they felt like it was dragging down the work instead of just like either guiding or just doing it themselves. So like for me, for example, I'm not sure if I have as much patience as you, but like I would try to give as much information as I could, and if I couldn't answer, I was just like, you're gonna have to talk to someone else about it. But there's just a thing where other people did not want to reach out or DM someone else about how to do this one task. So if it's like, if I didn't answer it or if I didn't help them, then they wouldn't get it done. So but mind you, it's like if we have a team or a group, it's like, you know, you should try to talk to the people you think would help most with it.
Yeah, so I think I understand. In the art domain, basically, I understand that art is mostly basically a practice work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like programming is something as in you explain things and how to do, you explain the process to them. Basically, I didn't taught them anything. I didn't taught them like I teach my students, you know. I just told them the process. I just told them, I instructed them the process, I demonstrated the process. Basically, I trained them and they worked on that training. I didn't teach them, I trained them. So, yeah, like I understand, like I have a teacher's background, so I will have a bit of proficiency in training them. But the fact that in programming, if you train them right, they can do the things, especially in a simple game engine like RenPy. They can do really well if they understand things. But then yes, there are some difficult things, you know, like GitHub, for example. GitHub, you have the applications and you have the command line. Now, if I try to teach you command line, that will take a very long time compared to someone who is adjusted with using that GitHub application, uh, the GUI application. So yeah, if things really get complicated, such as if we switch from suppose visual novel development to actual like maybe RPG or you know a 3D game which requires a lot more programming, I don't think we will be able to actually have uh, very novice programmers in our team.
Yeah, I could see why that would be a problem. Or like it would just be very tough to make progress, because for like as much as we want to make like a maybe 3D or half 2D half 3D game, it's gonna take a lot of work, and it's just like I feel like in that case we wouldn't we would have to learn ourselves or be the ones to get help. So to teach someone else when we already don't have as much experience is going to be a whole nother ball game.
Yeah, I had a very basic understanding of RenPy when I started this. I had I had I had understanding of Python on which the game engine is made of, but I didn't had understanding of the game engine. But I did made one demo game, so I only had that much experience. But it's also the fact that I have experience of developing all kinds of software, such as from Linux kernel, Linux OSs to like websites and everything. So I'm more of a generalist rather than a specialist. So I adapted in working on RenPy and just adapted to training other people in RenPy as well. So that actually kind of helped me to boost the development process. It was one of the positive points which I discovered in myself, that the experience really counts when you're working on a project.
Yeah, like I remember showing Kumar, I was just like, why didn't we use all these abilities when we made our game? And he's like, I didn't know. I was just like, bro, like I was playing a fan game and they were able to like pull all this extra stuff. I was just like, dang, our game doesn't have that. But I was just like, if we decide to shift the goalposts again, we're gonna take another year to finish the game. But I was just like, it's something we could use in the future.
Yes, we can use it in the future, but the amount of work we have to do, right? The amount of work, it's not about the complexity of the thing. Like complexity can be learned. right? I did learn it. Whatever you sent to me, I did learn it afterwards. But is the fact that like the complexity of the game is not the matter in visual novels. It is the fact that the amount of work we need to do, the tedious work, basically the amount of work which we need to do. That is the thing which lagged us behind. We had a lot of people who were contributing, but we didn't have people who were actually contributing. They were like, there is a 80-20 rule. Like in a company of 100 people, only 20 people actually do the real work. So that is what happened with us. Like we had 80 contributors, but only a certain portion of contributors were actually contributing to our project.
Dang. No, it just reminded me of what they call the 80-20 rule, but that it has nothing to do with game dev. That's a whole different ballgame, but it just reminds me of a very similar concept. It's essentially where someone can have 80% of you want but lack the other 20% you want. So it's like, would you really truly want that person? And I feel like that kind of applies for game dev, because it's like, maybe they can't do this, but they can do all this other stuff. But do you want to deal with the lack of 20% that they do have? So
yeah, it has that as well. Like the 80-20 rule which I am talking about, I read it in management books when I was like studying management in college. Yeah, from there I picked it up. Yeah, but it has many interpretations. It
really does.
So, and have you seen that people after a certain point, like after working on the game after a certain point, they were getting sick a lot for some reason. Like I was just amazed by the part that so many people were getting sick in our team. Like what was happening? I don't understand. Like were they making excuses or were they really getting sick? It was also like certainly an issue which we noticed. Like the amount of people getting sick was bizarre. And
it was flu season. Well, no, I get what you're saying. I think it's also that deals with like cultural aspects, because you once told me that there's certain things where you can call off for like a day or something like that. Just for a day though, like you're expected to get on your high horse right after that. While over here it's just like, okay, take as much time as you need, if you have that time available to take off. But like, your health is important. So, and like, this is volunteer work, so it's like, it's not like we could be like, oh, you gotta do this or that or this, because like at the end of the day they're doing it for free, and now the thing they only get out of it is the experience. So when someone's like they're sick, you just gotta be like, okay, well, hope you get better and hope you get back on. But you can't really say like, oh, you gotta get back within like the next week or next day. So
yeah, that is the thing. Like, I'm not talking about not to take rest when you're sick. Obviously, take a rest when you're sick. But the thing is, the amount of people getting sick, it was a kind of a dubious thing, because I did notice that some people who actually said they were sick, they were actually contributing to some parallel projects, working alongside, which were being developed during Aria's choice. So the fact that the bizarre number of people getting sick, not all of them, but I think a certain number of those people who applied, like who said they were sick, were not actually sick, and they were just excusing themselves to work on another project, because either they don't wanted to work on this our team, or either they just were bored or tired, or even in a way burnt out by this project. That was one of the things. There was one issue like where one contributor tried to jump ships within the same jam, but obviously they weren't able to do that, which was good for them because it would be a very bad reputation for them if it was if it turned out to be if their attempt was turned out to be successful. But yeah, we even saw cases of people trying to jump ship from one project to another project in same jam. So yeah, bizarre number I think is because a portion of them were actually didn't want to work on the project. But yeah, we also face those issues. I think the delays of the game also happen with opposite time. Like I live in India, you live in USA. We are on the opposite sides of the globe. So when you are awake, I'm asleep, and when I'm awake, you are asleep. And we had people from all over the basically globe. So time issue was one thing, especially for me at least.
I was giving up sleep just to do this project. There's a point where I even gave up like 2 full weekends to get the project done. Like I'm talking about like I was working on it for like 24 hours straight each day and only got my sleep when I had to get back to work. So like I was sacrificing a lot. I'm not sure it's really noticeable as the director because the director is just supposed to guide and lead people. It's not like we would be showing what we did. But the thing is, we did actually have to do stuff too because we had to do some writing. But it's like
Yes.
you wouldn't really know that director's doing all that.
Yeah. So like I did also understood that yeah, people actually they actually thought that they could take this much responsibility, but they actually overvalued themselves. Basically, they overestimated themselves, and they took responsibilities more than they can handle. So ultimately, what happened is like all those incomplete work came over on our head, and we were had to deal with all those unfinished work, and we had to do it ourselves. The writing comes like that, and then we had the writing, we had the programming, we had the sound editing, we had yeah, in these sectors people actually took more responsibilities than they could handle, and uh, all those responsibilities at the end of the day came to us because we were like you were the director and I was the lead programmer there, so we had to sort these things out in the end.
So like
So
when it came to that, we were basically given 2 options: to basically quit or to keep trucking. And I'm like, we gotta keep trucking. Because we only had like 3 of the routes written, not even complete written. And so we had to like finish those routes. And then we were ultimately deciding, should we leave out the other 2 male love interests, or should we just like, you know, get on the grind? And we got on the grind for it, but like it really does feel like it's a mixed bag because some people want to know more about them and some people just don't care or think they have no personality to them. It's just like if I could, I would have written more, or we would have written more, but it's like it's not just the writing, it's also putting it into the game, coding, voice acting, so forth and so forth. So like I do have more about each character written elsewhere, but we can't really put it in this game. It would have to be like a spin-off or side game. And it's just like how to get the traction back for people to want to learn more on those characters. Like for example, I have the whole backstory written out for the twins, and it does include bits of Michael and Layla's to expand them forward, but it's like actually putting that in elsewhere, making the game is the problem.
yeah, so I understand like for the writing sake, like I I basically started with the Damien and Aria route, the main two characters, and there was one other contributor she actually, I think she took the responsibility of managing all the writers, but in the end she got sick mentally and she had to leave. And the thing is that she had to tell us a little bit earlier that she wasn't contributing. Like she should be at least a bit faster in like telling me that I cannot do this, so we can at least take up next steps to like manage the things out. Like if they are keeping us in limbo, no, that is a bit of a problem. Like that writer actually kept us in limbo. The writer who was helping her, who actually wrote the Ethan route, he actually wrote a really good script. But one of the problems which came in here is that we were in a jam, and he was writing very good script. He was writing a very good story. It has substance. It has those little details which makes up the story for what it is. But a quality products actually takes time to make. It takes time to make, and the amount of the game we were trying to make, it didn't actually fit with the quality. Like the quality and the quantity is actually, they go in they're inversely proportional in a way. So he was contributing a lot of quality work, but he was a bit slow compared to the jam time. So we actually had to take the lead and we had to write it afterwards. So Ethan Root actually had that position, as in it was going all very well, and then we skipped to flashback to certain point in future, and everything ended well. So it did have that ending because I took the writing part and we had to end that story before the jam time. So
we may have butchered it a little, to be honest, but like we were just low-key focusing at the end to just finish it, because a lot of people do love Ethan's writing. It's like and like even they like the ending we did, but it's just like it goes from very so long in detail to just being like, okay, ABC ending. Like, we just had to get that and have that end goal. And so it's like people just still wanted more. I was like, bro got the most. He got the most.
He had 100 pieces of writing. That is insane amount of writing.
Over 100. It was. Oh, I think it's like 110 or 120. Now I'm just like, bruh.
Yeah, I mean that the writer who wrote Ethan's Route, he's commendable in a way, as in like he wrote really good script and he wrote a lot. It's just that he had to plan ahead that he had this much time and he had to complete the story. I think if he had a bit, had that perspective that we have only this much time, he would have like written even a shorter story, which is very good. So he had the skills. It's just that he wasn't just aware of how much long, or how short he had to write for that route. So yeah,
a lot of people really do love Damien's and Ethan's route though, and then they're left wanting more for Ethan, not Ethan, Silver. But I can't say the same for Ty and Michelangelo. I like Ty's, but a lot of people misunderstand the concept of his character, or the twins for that matter. And it's just like, that's probably because the lack of time we had and the loss of translation with the script. So
yeah, so translations did fail. We had planning of translations and it failed, I think. Did we still put the translations in, or what?
We literally only have the full translation for the Spanish route for Damien, but we don't. I think we might have one more Spanish route, but we don't have any translations we could really put in, like for other languages. And I was really trying for it, but no, translation takes too much work if it's by one person. So translations are just a no. It is not within the possibility of our type of skills, unless like you decide to do the languages you know how to do, and, like, are eloquent in the writing. Because even if I may speak Spanish, I can't eloquently write it, so the translation would be horrendous.
Yeah, the translation is not easy though. It takes time, and I actually asked help of a experienced Empire developer to help me with the translations part. They did help me, but they did showed me how to put in the translations into the game, but then we didn't did the translation at the end anyways. So that's what issues we faced. At the ending of the game though, like we actually faced issues, and like the game engine itself, the game engine had bugs. So that was one of the main issues which we faced during the ending of the game. And behold, we got suspended in Google Play Store for publishing a game which had a broken engine. And somehow we got that fixed up, and hopefully we will now be able to publish it on Google Play Store in my account. So yeah, like we also had to wait that out also, that we had to wait for the Empire development community to fix those issues. And since it's an open source game engine, they don't get funding much. So like the fix is a bit slow. Also the fact that it's open source, so you could fix it on yourself, which I did that in some of the bugs, of the voice bugs. But yeah, they fixed it, and I just updated the game engine. So that also happens. Like, don't trust the Ren'Py engine. That is one of my take. I understand from here that Ren'Py engine is not perfect. So don't always trust the Ren'Py engine. Yeah.
Yeah, there are so many things you learn from this experience. What to do and what not to do. The voice acting, although it's really great to have, was like definitely very time consuming. It's like, oh my goodness, we really were not prepared for voice acting.
Yeah, we were not. Actually, it really happened. Like, so one of the voice actors came to me and said that, do you want voice acting for your game? And I was like, yeah, she can be a very good voice actor for our main character. And like, yeah, she is a very good, like, maybe we wouldn't have voice acting for other characters, but since this is the from the perspective of Aria, our main character, so she can voice her thoughts, and we can have a game from that. But then you thought that, yes, we are recruiting voice actors as well, and you recruited a lot of voice actors. We then had that voice actor as well. So he had his whole casting crew, and he recruited people from outside the DevTalk server. So yeah, like I thought that voice acting would be going perfectly well, but at the end, when I was implementing the voices, I actually noticed a lot of misheads or line skips, and I figured out why that happened. Like that the voice actors, when I talked to them, like these lines were missing and stuff like that. They had the old copy of the story, which was meant for the writers to read, that old draft of the story, and somehow they didn't get the updated copy. And I was certain that you actually pinged them multiple times with the voice actor's copy of the story, but they somehow still took the older copy, which was meant for the writers to actually edit and fix. So like we also had that issue of like someone taking the copy which was meant for the demo route, so not demo route, the demo game, and they did half of the voice acting and not the complete voice acting. So yeah, voice acting is all over the place. It's also the fact that, you know, the voice acting, the people who are managing voice acting should actually listen to the voices which was being said and match it with the script, which wasn't done. And people didn't have any idea what was done or what was not done during the voice acting, and nobody managed the voice actors. So I don't think it's the fault of voice actors that they didn't got it properly. Not totally. It was a partly responsibility of the people who are managing the voice actors as well.
I don't,
so yeah,
I can't really say too much on that part, because like just having to read the story multiple times and play through the story, like I kept picking up on stuff multiple times like that we didn't pick up the first time. I think it, like, to hear it via voice is also very hard to do. So I don't know if it's just like you need like 2 people on that, or it's just like you need a lot of time to process that, because like even I couldn't do it. Like I knew for sure that voice directing was not one I would want to do, because there's just way too much that has to go within looking at through the lines, which is crazy, because like the actual chunk of it is not even that big. Like there's multiple takes and stuff, but like when you get the final voice stuff that isn't sliced up, it's very small in comparison. But playing through the game could be like 10 hours.
It is very small. It is very small. But the thing is, we had a separate person for managing the voice acting, right? We had a separate person, and actually they had the responsibility of like checking all the things, but they didn't check. They did the work of like managing everything else properly, but they forgot to check whether the voice actors actually voiced every lines or not. And I know it takes a lot of work to check them, but like figuring out, like discovering them after the audio has been cleaned and everything was done and set, and then actually like when implementing in the game the cleaned voices, when I'm implementing in the game, and then I'm finding out that these voices were these lines were skipped or these lines were misread. Like this should be done the before the voices were given for audio cleaning.
You know, I
So
think was the issue
yes,
though. I think it was having like the master files and like all the file. It was literally the file management for audio was such a different way in comparison. I think it had to be everyone had their own separate folder, like initially. So like let's say Aria's voices, like for just Aria by herself, for which story. So like let's say it was like Damien's story, Ethan's story, Michael's story, and then all her voices had to be like separated and put there. But I don't think that's what we did. And so like then you had to like manage through those voices, all through someone else's voices. There wasn't like, we couldn't get the Excel sheet right away where you said you had to like put the lines one by one like that until later on. And so I think most of them were just reading via script, and it just really messed everything up.
so you're saying that me not giving the actual seat of the voice lines mess it all up, because reading from the directly from the story will confuse people on what to say and what not to say.
Because you mentioned that there's misread dialogue and whatnot, right? Or like misspoken. I think also like the Excel sheet, because we had errors in there. And then the sheet I think may have gotten updated at one point, the actual script. So what I'm saying is that I think something had happened where there is a mix match. I don't know where exactly it happened. So I think that's where everything kind of fumbled, where it's like, oh, don't you have to do this? Don't you have to do that? And it's just like, I think the Excel sheet is also hard because you have to make sure who's saying it, and the Excel sheet is doing by the whole story. So that's gonna make it even tougher to separate because everyone's just reading the whole like line without taking accountability who's reading that or whatnot. So even though it does say it, it's just that you're seeing all these lines. And so I really don't know because I'm not a voice actor or a professional one. So I'm like, I don't really know how the setup usually is for that people could do voice acting. I think it's that we don't have the understanding of the voice acting perspective just yet, since we were fresh, and it just kind of messed everything up.
So I understand one thing from the programming side of things is that, and also what I remember from the development side of things, how the things were developed. I actually stopped all the programmers to change the script just because the script was finalized. So after the script was finalized, I didn't allow any programmers to change any line in the game. And if the game didn't have any lines changed, the Excel sheet will not have any lines changed. So I made sure of that. So I don't think it is matter with the Excel sheet that sometimes we changed anything in the game itself. But there were only 2 lines, I think, 1 or 2 lines which was made to change due to the copyright issues of the names of which was being used. But apart from that, all the other misread lines, they actually came because the voice actors actually somehow got the hold of some old draft of the story which was meant for the writers, and they didn't got the story which was made for, like, which was the final draft for the voice actors. So yeah, it was both for that.
Yeah, I don't know because I had everything in like in the languages, so I always had the final route somewhere. But like I think it's that the pinned comment may have been an older one. I'm not really sure what happened there because I kept having to resend a lot of stuff. That's the problem. We had to keep resending, and so it's very it was a very intense thing to deal with. Honestly, the voice acting was intense.
That is why, you know, Discord actually, Discord is kind of a troublesome in like managing things. So if suppose if we have Notion, right? If we have Notion, or if we have Jira, or if we have Trello, we can assign a person to that task, and then we can upload a file to that task that they have to do this thing. So they get a proper position and place to see that yes, this is that thing. But then, you know, we had the problem of like
Only 10
people
max.
actually don't want, yeah, only 10 people max. And we also, it's also the fact that even in those 10 people, they didn't want to use Notion, Trello, or Jira.
Some people wanted Trello, some people wanted Notion. It just wasted more time, essentially, just because we had to try all methods.
But
so that's
yeah,
why.
if we are wasting more time, but the end product is like, right now we have to fix things which was done by mistake. So we are anyways wasting our time. So it is better to do it properly and use more time rather than wasting more time and doing errors. So we may have to like think about it if we want to use any kind of these project management softwares or not, or maybe you have to find a better one probably.
Yeah, it's either that or just like really have a small team. So
yeah, for a big team we do need a project management software, because I know like I usually avoid using GitHub issues for day-to-day development processes, But when things were getting out of hand, I used GitHub Issues, and GitHub Issues is kind of similar like Notion or Trello or um, Jira.
Mm-hmm.
So it really helped me to like organize things out, like what things to do and what things not to do, because messages are like confusing. I cannot keep up with the messages.
And with messages comes pinging. We gotta keep pinging
Yeah.
people. So I don't know. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's
So
really a big thing.
yeah, pinging and like consider this though, like if people are so much bothered by the pings which they really need to see and read, think about the fact that if we just posted their name and they assigned a task in one of those project management software, will they even look at it? I don't think so.
That's why I'm just like that's why I was saying like I feel like it's a time waster, because if they wouldn't, if like people aren't gonna look at pings, why would they do a board? So that's why I was just like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
But all in all, do you think that participating in a jam just for the sake of participating in a jam is useful
No,
in game
I
development?
really don't think so at all. Here's why. Unless like it's gonna be a small team and a small team could get it done, then sure. But I tested it with another project, aside from Aria's choice. It was a very small team, and there are still problems. It was like I did like I did the writing. I reused old assets that I was allowed to reuse, right? And then the background I had gotten from free to use places. So then I was trying to do other stuff, and the other stuff I was trying to ask for help for, I was told yeah they could do it, and then I was ghosted after 2 things were done, not even done, were sorted out. And it could be because I expected one thing and they expected another, but it was just more so there was no communication. Like I tried to communicate and I was just left unread. So I don't think it's very good unless you have people you can actually cooperate with, that you know that even if they were to get sick or something, that they'll still try to do what they can, or at least contact you. Because I remember during this project I got sick and I was letting you know, I was like, bro, I feel sick, I feel like trash, I'm gonna do what I can, but I feel like trash. And then you told me you need to give them a break, and we gave them a break, and then it
Yeah,
was
because they were burnt out from like pushing for the demo,
yeah.
they were burnt out.
And so I gave them a break, right? You expected it to be like 1 week, and so you said just don't contact or anything, and then you come back to me like another 2 weeks later, you're like, where's the stuff? I said, you told me I was like, you told me to not bother anyone. You're like, it's been 3 weeks. you're like,
Obviously, like I told to give them a 1 week break, and like um you gave them like 3 weeks, or like
I
either
gave them,
you gave them or
I was only gonna give them like a day or something, and then you're like a week, and then it was just no contact, no updates, but I didn't do anything about it because you're like, if you do it too much they're gonna get burnt out. And so then I had to do me and be like, yo everyone, we gotta get back on the high horse and start doing stuff. And so, but it was 3 weeks without any work. It was 3 weeks without any work. And you're like, where's all the work? I was just like, I don't know, you told me not to do anything. So I was just doing my stuff. So
well, we shouldn't do that. Like
we
shouldn't do
should
that.
have breaks.
1 week,
We need to starve ourselves.
we should have breaks. I mean, it's it should be under certain, like in a limited time. We should have breaks,
But
not like
the thing is, because I'm doing, I'm co-directing another project. The thing with having breaks is that people are gonna take that break. Once that deadline is done and you don't have anything to focus on, people are just gonna be like, oh, I can't do it, oh, I don't want to do it, oh, etc, etc. Like they already got the credit. Game jams, I don't think it's worth doing unless you can stay focused and you can keep trucking along. But I don't think you need a big group for one. I think having big group actually hampers things, because there's something one developer told me, because I was trying to learn more, and they're like, you could have 20 incompetent people and get no work done because they're incompetent. I'm not saying our group was, but I'm just saying you could have 20 incompetent people and make no progress because everyone's acting incompetent. Or you could have one competent person and get all the work done, whether it takes more time or whatnot, or you could just dedicate it to yourself. So it really depends on the mindset. And you know, with our thing, I don't think it was incompetent. I just think burnout really happened, and it's more so that you have to remotivate yourself. But it's hard to remotivate yourself if this isn't your project and you're not passionate about this project. Like, yes, it might be the project they're working on, but it's not the story they want to tell or know about. So that's like the issue with it. It's just like the reason why you and me kept moving with it is because I was very dedicated in actually making this a story. Like, even if I'm not even the genre or target for this, and then you wanted to make sure that you didn't leave anyone work to waste. And I think it's just the mindset. It's just like, we're not gonna quit until we get what we need to get done.
Yeah. So we shouldn't take big teams. One lesson learned. And if we take a big team, it goes out with that 80-20 rule, that 20 people does the most work and 80 people just do minimal work, I suppose.
I mean, I don't know why we would try to force ourselves with another team. Like, I don't know why we would try to go for a big team again. Like, it's gonna be burned out to the max or something. I don't know. I just don't feel like it's a good idea though.
Also, like, regarding the software development type, like, we actually used agile methodology of development. Like, we adapted whatever views we get from the audience or the team members, and then we changed our course of development. Visual novels is just not suited for agile development, and we should always follow the waterfall model. Like, first do the story, then characters and backgrounds, then music, and lastly the voice acting. Like, that is the process we should always follow. So yeah, we have to be careful of that process.
Yeah. I just don't think it's not gonna be the story you want to tell, essentially, if you keep changing it to try to cater. It's just gonna be a story. It's probably not gonna be a story you're passionate about, because it's just like, maybe this is what's gonna get the demographic, but at the end of the day, is this really something you're passionate about or even want to get out? Because I did work on a story, and the story itself is just something I was passionate about. I didn't think about, oh, who's gonna like the story or whatnot. I just was like, I want to tell the story, and I told it in this format because this is format I was familiar with. And if people play the game, then they play the game. If they don't play the game, then they don't play the game.
Yeah, so, like, yeah, you cannot please everybody, right? You could only please a certain viewpoint of viewers. So we have to be careful about that. We cannot please everyone, and we can only select a certain demographic. Not even demographic. If we narrow it down, we can only select a certain viewpoint of users or players, and we can make them happy, and we can give them an experience. We cannot cater to all and everybody, because if we are catering to everybody, the game will have mixed views, and not everybody will be not satisfied with the game itself. So yeah, I think what good things which we saw in our game was the voice actors were very talented, although they had this problem of misreading or something like that, but the quality of the voice, their voice, and the acting of the voice was very good. I think I should credit the voice actor as well, because he took great care in picking out a good talent
You mean
in the voice
director?
actor. The voice actor, yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you were also the part of the casting crew. So
Yeah, the voice
yeah,
director helped me get the people, and I was the one who picked out the people that I was interested in. So
yeah, so that was a very very good selection of people. Like the voice acting had really good talents, and they did their mistakes of like misreading or like skipping the lines, but they had a lot of, some were new and some were experienced, some were professionals, but they had very good voice quality, and they had emotions in their voices.
I
So the
know,
voice acting was, yeah,
and I know that you mentioned Serenity was one of your highlights.
yes,
I know I liked Layla more personally, just because of her tone was just funny with what she would say versus what she was sounding like. So I liked Layla as one of the girls, and then for the guys, I liked Silver, and I was so sad that Silver didn't have more of a prominent role, because I did like his voice acting. Well, I think you liked more Ethan.
yeah, I like Ethan, but that may be biased as well, because Ethan is a programmer and I'm a programmer, so like that biases go through. But regarding Serenity, Serenity's VA's voice is actually very polished and very like it's a like I was I was amazed to see that she was a professional voice actor, because I thought that she had a very good voice, and I was just imagining like how she like got into our game development project, and like so it was a bit of a surprise for me that she was actually a professional voice actor, which was actually voicing for cartoons and such. So yeah, like Serenity voice is really good. Serenity's VA's voice and Layla's VA's voice. Actually, I think there was a certain time where Layla's VA was thinking that her voice doesn't match the character or something. But actually, it is opposite. As her voice actually matched the character to like to the best in the best way possible, I think. So yeah, I think I don't know if you have noticed about Layla's VA that she was thinking that her voice didn't match the character or something.
I wasn't aware of that. I know with Serenity's voice actor, it was a trial because the first voice actor couldn't do it because of the commitment. She thought it was too grand, so she preferred a smaller voice role, and I think we gave her one. The second one couldn't because of stuff in personal life, so I was like, dang, we need a new one. And the voice actor for Serenity was doing the editing, and I was just like, hey, you want to be her voice actor now? And it's just like, all right. And I was like, sweet, because I had heard her voice. And to me, it wasn't about the amount of viewership or whatnot they got, because I know the voice actor Silver also did a good job, but to me it was just like what their voice entailed. So like I'm not sure if he's considered amateur, or wait, I'm not sure if some of the other people are considered amateurs or not, but like they really stood out to me, and I was just like, I want them as a voice actor.
Yeah, and another part of our team was our background artist. The whole team was very collaborative, consistent in working, and they delivered all the backgrounds. The so many backgrounds we had, and they delivered it all by the time we wanted them. And it was very impressive to see that such background artists are working with us. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another thing we had to think about. I was like, we had too many backgrounds, too many renderings and too many backgrounds. Like we should have probably kept it flat colors or something you mentioned, but we were rendering the turd out of them backgrounds, and so like they're very nice and whatnot, but they did so much effort. It was a lot of effort.
Yeah, they did a lot of effort, and yeah, at the start, like I was a bit. I will be honest, like I was a little bit, stressed out that they were not following the art guidelines of how much resolution should the background should be, and I was actually, somebody called out to me because like I was a bit, how can I say,
Aggressive.
a bit rough. Yeah, a bit rough. That nobody was following the art guidelines of how much resolution the images should be, and yeah. But after they understood that, like they did worked very well, and I'm impressed by them. Honestly, like the amount of background they made and the quality of the background they made.
Yeah, a lot of them are super fantastic. It was just that we had to we really said because what happened was one of the writers had all these backgrounds set up, and it wasn't really known until after we read both Damien's and Ethan's route that both of them had different backgrounds. And so there was like, I think there's over like 30 backgrounds for this game. It's like, dang. And they have to be rendered because we can't just have half of them rendered, half unrendered. So that was like one of the issues, that we had so many backgrounds.
Yeah, I think if we God bless you.
Thank you.
If I think if we had another like if we get another background artist, I will just tell them not to render them at all, just have flat colors, because to be honest, flat colors doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad, and it does the work, and it looks good. It's not that it's that bad. So yeah, rendering, we can nail up rendering for a later date if the game makes money or something, or if the game gets popular.
Oh my god, that leads to marketing. Our marketing was a failure because like a lot of these games I see where I wouldn't expect it to have such a large audience actually has a large audience, and they have Kickstarters to like help out afterwards, which I was so shocked by, because I was just like, I thought a lot of these people were doing it as just like a project, and no, some of these people are doing like Kickstarters and making like 100K to even just get the game started, and we're doing all this work as volunteers. It's just like, oh, we had to wait until we had funding to do a AAA title. That's what like we're here doing AAA title without funding. It's just like, oh, okay, well there's a difference right there.
Yeah, we will figure out how to crowdsource these things. Basically, crowdsourcing happens because of the popularity, but we had this marketing dent in our strategy, that all the market is, they basically didn't have anything to market with, because we were we had so much less assets at the time of marketing, and by the time we had these assets for marketing, they all left. So yeah, we had to we didn't have any experience in marketing, and once the game is made, well, I could say that the quality of the game is, I would rate it as like 3 out of 5. So because we did so many mistakes, so the quality did drop down. So the marketing also depends on the quality of the game, So we will try to improve it. I think if we can improve the voices in, I think it will just bring it a little bit better with the quality of the game.
I would give it a 5 out of 5 for that way you guys could go on itch.io. It's free and you can download it and give us 5-star ratings so we can gain traction. And that way our average would be a 4 out of 5 with me and Kumar.
We also like in jams when we submitted the game, did we face any predatory rating by some other game developers? Did we face that ever?
I don't know, but like we literally got a 1-star right out the bat. I was just like, how you get a 1-star? Like because I'm like, this is a free product. How are we getting 1 stars on this game? So I don't know, possibly because I'm just like, on a free game, it's not like it had no work or effort put into it. I was just like, who's gonna rate this game this terribly? I'm like, why play a game if you're not even gonna like it? So I don't know.
Yeah, we are not even putting ads, Normally free games have ads and people earn from ads. We are not even putting ads. It's totally a free game. Like from the ground up, it is a free game. So like, I don't understand why people are like, yeah, it's a bad game, let's give it a 1 star. I don't think it deserves a 1 star. Of course, it lacks a little bit of things and it is rough on the edges, but I don't think it deserves a 1 star yet.
Yeah, like someone else was given like 2 stars, and I'm like, if it's 3 or above, I'm not gonna have an issue. But I'm like, dang, 1 or 2 stars. I'm like, that's like a solo game I make. You can give a 1 star. But like a group project, I'm like, dang, it's not like we getting paid for this.
So what is the current rating by the time when you are recording this? What is the current rating of the game?
We have a total of 4 stars on the app, the itch.io store. That's not bad,
good.
But like I'm just like, I wish the people who are giving 1 or 2 stars didn't drag it down just to drag it down, because like the thing with the ratings is I wouldn't mind if they told us why, but they don't even tell you why. They just said 1 star.
So, yeah, and it is also the fact that the later jams which we participated in with the game Aria's Choice, the rating was done by our competitors rather than the players, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's one thing we should talk about. Difference between the gamers and the developers.
Yeah. So I don't think it is like any use if the people who are rating us is also a competitor in our jam. So it is not, how can I say this? It would easily corrupt anyone's ethical views or moral views when rating them. That's one.
Well, also, I feel like whenever we listen to someone or hear from the perspective of a developer, it's way different from someone who's playing the game. Like, for example, animations. For some reason, developers don't like the ideas of having animations because it's either distracting or too breathy. Well, for me, because I look at it as a gamer perspective, I'm like, I'd rather have a game that has like, voice acting and animations than something that's just very still. Like, I'm like, that's just gonna be very like, okay, you're still seeing the same thing over and over. But if it's moving, I feel like it gives some type of like neurons or something. I don't know. It gives something for your brain to be paying attention to.
Yeah, so I actually did ask actual gamers from I don't remember the name of the server right now, but it's basically a visual novel fan server. So basically, they read visual novels from other companies, big companies, and small creators as well. They are not a indie game visual novel dev community, rather than they are just visual novel fan community. So I asked them like whether they like breathy animation type of characters, or they want a static character. They actually said that more the animation, the better it is for them to like read through, and if it has voice acting, then it is even better.
So yeah, for me, I was just like, you know, it's gonna be a lot harder to do that with a smaller group, but like if we were able to get it done, that would be nice to get it done. But like we need crowdfunding for it to get done in the future if we decide to do it again.
Yeah. Okay, so have we wrapped up everything, or do we have certain things missing that we have skipped or discussed, even discussed?
We talked about over and underestimating our abilities. Cutting out content. Did we talk about that? Like where we feel like we should have? I know we talked about like the story wise, but like how do you feel about the fact that using everything up? Because I know we don't want to waste the artist's time, but at the same time, if it doesn't make sense to use, do you think we should use it? Or like there has to be something that we know, like, you know, sometimes some things might not be used in the sake of like keeping things consistent.
Because it's just that,
What?
like, so you said that you said that you should not keep anything just because of what?
Like I'm saying, like, you know how we have to have a consistent art style? Well, let's say someone's unable to match the art style. Like, should we use the item or not use the item? Because a lot of criticism we kept getting for the game is that the art style is inconsistent.
Yeah, so art style inconsistent does matter, right? It does matter, but if like suppose if we are making some sequel of the game or prequel of the game, then we can change the art style. So keeping art style consistent is one of the factors which we have to look into. Other factor is that we should always, if we want to change perspectives of the characters which we read through, we should start with a narrator and have a narrator's voice, or at least have a silent narrator which we can read. So that's the thing. We should keep in mind, like, if we are writing a next story which we decide to change perspectives, point of view of the characters which we are reading on, so we should start with a narrator's point of view first. That is a third person perspective. And also the fact that we should be also be quite careful about the audio cleaning part. So like when people audio clean, they always for the Ren'Py engine itself, they usually set the gain volume to very low, which I've seen like most of our audio cleaning team or the audio editor team, audio engineers team, even after repeated instructions to raise the gain volume, they kept the gain volume a bit low than what is required. So we got comments, right, that the voice acting is very low. I did try to fix it with programming, like programmatically increase the gain volume, but while doing that, it happens that some of the voice files actually go a little bit more than what is required, and some of the gain volume go a little bit less than what is required. So it is not a perfect fix, but we should match the gain volume, and the gain volume should be high for the audio. So these two things, these three things actually, regarding same art style, having third person perspective for narrator,
and that we should have the idle poses figured out first, because the expressions could be done possibly with someone else or at a later time. But it's just having
the gain or the loudness of the should be yes.
So I was saying, like, idle poses should be like done first before doing expressions. That way we have like the character, and in case something were to happen, we could have the what's it called, the expressions done by them later or to someone else. But like, it's the fact of having a consistent idle character, and then like expressions could be more exaggerated or whatnot. Like, that's something I feel like we could get away than having different art styles for every character, unless we're going for that type of vibe.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you with that. Yeah.
What about professionalism?
I think, like, real professionalism comes if you have the humility in yourself. If you are a professional with a pompous attitude or something, I don't think that is professionalism, because I know that I have a lot of experience in like teaching, and I have a lot of experience in software development apart from the Renpy, the game development, like the Linux open source development or other things. I do have the humility to know that I'm not always the best, and some things are not done in your way, so you have to like adapt to it, or at least either that, or you have to like guide the other person to like guide them to adopt your way of things, so that they could learn from you, so that we can ultimately work together. So I think
Yeah,
those two things.
like for me, I know I wasn't the perfect director. Like there's some people who like me, some people who didn't. But what I think is that like I understand that I had to work on delivery, which is something we were trying during that time. Because I know when sometimes I had to reach out or talk to someone, I was just like, I thought I was saying it in a good way, but some people be like, no, this could be interpreted as just you getting them to do what you want or something, which I'm like, that's not my intention. But it's just like talking and texting are two separate formats, and it's just like you can never understand the tone was via just text. And another thing was just like if I was too lenient, like if I didn't get specific directions, then it was either things would change or just like things weren't done. Because like I remember someone's like, what do you need for like this thing? I was just like, what do you think you could do, or what do you think could get done? Because what had happened is if I started off the bat with I need this and that, it's kind of sounded like I demanding this from you. I was just like, no, I'm just saying this is what I need. But also if I was just like, what do you think you could do, it could I be like, oh, this is my own creative thinking, or it's like, oh, you don't even know what you want. So there's that when it comes to working with the big group. That's why I was just like, I don't know if we could really work with a big group unless like they're okay with that, or it's like something we have to disclaim since the beginning. I think it's like we need more disclaimers.
Well, technically, we can actually perfect things out. Like if we want to work with the less amount of people, so we can use the doll maker software like ChatMe or Mannequin, and for the backgrounds we can use Photo Sketcher to like make cartoon of the existing images that are not AI, you could say. And we can also make procedurally generated music, so we can work with less number of users. But if we want to work with people, we can use like kind of a contract or agreement, digital or contract or agreement, to like let people sign on that, so that we can agree on that certain aspect of things, such as the license of the art assets which we can use, or what is the scope of the art assets we can use, or what is the criteria of working with us and other things. So we can like make a digital agreement and let people sign on it. And I know like it is a limited thing, like we can only do it for the 10 people, but yeah, even for a small team we can use those things to like better protect both the contributor and ourselves from getting into any kind of disagreement or trouble.
Yeah, I mean, we would probably have to work the kinks to that, or like really think about if we really want to. There is also the fact that it's just like, should we try with the mentality less is more? in the meantime until we get our footing?
So I think what I think is we can work on like extending the story of Aria's choice while on the back burner we like figure out what are the misread lines or the skip lines of Aria's choice. And we have an artist, I think, for the next sequel or like the next part of Aria's choice. And we are having a small team, so the only thing it will lack is voice acting. So yeah, I don't think participating in a jam is anything useful unless it is matching with our progress or our needs, such as post jam or something like that.
Yeah, because with a volunteer product, I understand people have their things they have to get done. So like, I'm not upset with like people having to leave. It's more so just like being able to figure out how do we continue onward, or if we have to start back from square one, which is why it's like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do all this, because like I feel like if it wasn't with such a big group, like it feels like you would have more flexibility. It's like, you know what, taking longer time is okay, but like with a big group, you're like, nah, we need to meet the expectations, make sure we give ourselves a good rep, or at least try our best to, because not everyone's gonna like how things were done, but like, it will be a learning experience. So like, for example, like the scheduling, like let's say it's for us, right? Should we still try to give ourselves like a very strict schedule, so that way when we inevitably or do take the amount of time, it's like, well, we did give ourselves a big strict schedule?
So I don't know whether if having a strict schedule will benefit us, but having certain, not a strict schedule but a rough schedule, like having certain milestones to achieve to get there or something, will help us to actually boost the development of the game. So like, suppose you set a certain milestone that by this time these things will be completed, right? And let's say it lags behind 7 days or something, or it even lags behind 2 weeks, but we still have that, yeah, we are late and we have to complete this, we can do this, so yeah, we will do this. But I think the main issue with not is it is not about the it's not about the deadlines or the milestones. It is about consistently working on that project, no matter if it is in a half hour or a 1 hour. We have to consistently work on that project in order to finish that project. Because I also maintain, like I used to maintain Linux OSs. So in that, what happened, like the development never stops, it never stops. It has no deadline. It is ever building. Like operating system development keeps on developing. Like it has more features, it has more bugs, it has everything. So it keeps on developing. It has no end cycle. So yeah, like having a deadline for that, it doesn't make sense. Same for like a web app or a software which is like a complex software such as a web app which keeps on getting new features or adding more things into the software. So it is a non-ending, it is a no deadline software, so it always keeps on building up. Even in complex game projects, which is not a visual novel, such as an RPG, not an RPG, but like MMORPG, in a 2D MMORPG, it keeps on adding more maps, it keeps on adding more features, more quests, and everything. So it is a never-ending project. So how we manage those never-ending projects is not that how we set up strict milestones. Rather, we keep on doing little by little every day, and that consistency actually makes completes the project faster than having some strict deadline or milestones.
Okay, I think that's it. Unless you have any final thoughts to think about before we wrap up, because I think we got the main points. The only thing I would want to say is that you know, we appreciate everyone who went and did this for us, and you know, I think we still did a great final project, even if there's still stuff that people may think is lacking or whatnot. I think we accomplished a lot, especially for our roles in this. Like everyone, there is like a mix of everybody in this, with having, you know, people who might be professionals, people who might be novices. There was so much that was happening, and with that,
some people were very passionate as well, and some people were very dedicated as well. Like, we had all kinds of people in here, and I think there was one, I don't remember the name right now, but there was this passionate artist, background artist, who drew a very beautiful background art, and she was good in drawing. She was good in drawing the nature things, but not in indoor set. I think she was one of the very passionate artists we had in the background artist.
yeah,
So, like,
she helped us with the expressions when we were lacking and everything. So like, she was trying to get the project at where it should be. So even when she was busy, so I think, yeah, that's something to really, you know, show that, you know, everyone, no matter where they're at, it's like, as long as you put the effort or try to cooperate, then like stuff could get done.
yeah, and it is not like we would not be happy to participate in your project. Like, we have this amazing GUI artist we had, who actually learned very fast. She was a novice at the start, but she learned very fast when she got into the team, and now she made her own game. And I think, yes, JJ also helped her, joined her team to
Yeah.
develop that game.
I'm still working on it, so like, that's why I would have to hold off on game jams if it's super big, because I'm like, I need to work on my games and her games, and I'm not gonna overstretch myself, because I think that's one of the problems, that people tend to go with like 4 different jams. Some people even go like 10 or 12, and it's just like the more attention you could give to one is like, the better it is, because you'll be able to put 100% into it rather than like 20%.
Yeah, I always prefer to have one jam at a time, not multiple jams, because it just reduces the quality of individual jams you are working in. So, but yeah, but the thing remains is that like, it's not like we are only like the directors, or we are the lead programmers or something. We also work on like other people projects who have worked with us. So it's not like it's a set, and it's a position that is set in stone, that we will always be like in the leading positions of the projects. But yeah, yeah, it was very fun working with all of the people and experiencing a variety and the whole diversity of people we met through this project.
Yeah, it was good knowing people who would probably work with us in the future, or just as passionate about it. And it was just good, you know, being able to make a final project that, like, oh my goodness, I was a part of this. And it's just like, woo, like, you know, even if it doesn't gain commercial success.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not the next Doki Doki, but you know what? Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. Start putting glitch features and everything, but like, where the next Doki Doki? So yeah, with that being said, I think this is a good place to wrap up, because this is almost 2 hours. So Kumar, anything you want to say before I do the signing off?
No, I don't have to say anything. I think we will come up again with our next game.
Yeah, the next 2-hour stream is about the next game. Anywho, with that being said, this is JJBEATS signing out. You guys have a great one. Bye bye.